Hey everyone, welcome to Smash Trivia. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John, and you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia to follow everything happening with me. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. I'm so excited to get into this. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, in this series, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies and TV shows. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they could please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. And for this episode, I'm going to be reviewing She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Episode 4. And I'd like to I should take a moment to say that Smash Trivia now has a Patreon, so please check that out. We have some fantastic extra content on there. I bet you'll love. Of the tiers are as follows: $1 a month is Hulkaholic for $1. $3 a month is the Reading Room with Hulky and Shulky. $5 a month is Smashing the TV, and $10 a month is Bruce's Bar Trivia and One Night Smashes. I'll be joined today by my guest, Caroline from the Defining Disney podcast. How are you feeling, Caroline?
Doing pretty good. Enjoyed tonight's episode. Looking forward to talking about it.
Nice. Good. All right. So, I don't know how much you've seen of my podcast, but there's something that every episode I try to do, which is a trivia question. So my trivia question for today, if you don't mind me asking you, is in the Savage She-Hulk comic, Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk dated two separate men at the same time. What were those two men's names?
Gosh,
which it's okay if you don't know the answer. I will let
that's
everyone
a great
know
question. I'm sure that I could probably take a guess,
sure,
but I don't know.
And also if you don't know the answer, or funny answers are always welcome.
I feel like it would be really funny if she were dating like the alter ego of somebody else, like Matt Murdock and Daredevil at the same time.
All right. Well, I will give the answer to that at later in the episode. And for our Hulkaholic for $1, we have film critter Derek Sager and Gabriel Floral. Oh, and as I always, I highly recommend watching the episode before listening to this podcast. And the podcast I want to shout out this week is the Nerd in Texas podcast. I listened to her Spider-Man No Way Home review the other day while I was mowing our yard, and I absolutely loved it. She has a really fun personality and some great ideas in that episode. I highly recommend checking her podcast out, and she's also going to be coming on my podcast for She-Hulk review in the coming weeks. And my co-host Keith was not able to make it tonight to this recording because he's trying to take care of his fiance who's feeling under the weather. But he did send me a video to play of his thoughts. So here's Keith's thoughts on the She-Hulk episode.
I'm so sorry I can't be on the episode tonight, John. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really enjoyed that it's more of us getting Jen on her own, and I loved that fight scene with Wong and her working together. It felt like it was ripped straight from the She-Hulk comics, so that was an awesome team up kind of moment. I hope we don't get too much more Wong. I feel like they're kind of overusing him a little bit. I get that he's a crowd pleaser. I want to see her have more adventures. I want to see her meet Daredevil. Damn it! I thought that would be the big cliffhanger, but not yet, I guess. Anyways, as far as my best guess to your trivia question, I think Jen would be dating recording artist Gautier, and She-Hulk would be dating Guy Fieri.
All right, those are Keith's thoughts. Thank you, Keith, for sending me that video in, and it's definitely all right that you missed this recording. You're taking care of your fiance is much more important, and thank you for answering that trivia question. That was some great responses.
An excellent answer.
All right, and I want to take a moment to real quick. I want to actually call out Marvel Studios on a pretty messed up thing that they did last episode. So I found out this week that how apparently one of the Wrecking Crew members is supposed to be black and in the comics at least, and Marvel cast a white stuntman in the role. Now, I don't think they were trying to be racist by whitewashing the character. I think it was simply they were being too lazy and cheap. Because this is, I don't think this is going to be a very big character in the series. I honestly don't think this character is probably going to end up coming back in the series. But still, I think it's a pretty fucked up thing to do. Casting a white stuntman in the role. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if the racist assholes try to say that they think that Marvel was just casting the best actor based on skills for the role, which is definitely not what happened here. Because if Marvel were trying to cast the best actor for the role, they wouldn't hire an in-house stuntman. They would hire an actual actor.
I mean, certainly, if the role calls for stunts, then stunts have to be part of assessing who is quote unquote the best. But you would hold an open audition at that point.
Oh yeah.
But while obviously there are nods here to the Wrecking Crew, I don't.
Well, okay.
I struggle to believe that this is going to be the quote unquote permanent like named Wrecking Crew,
now,
and that these are going to be those characters.
I can understand. I do see that, but also they did give the name of this character in the episode of Thunderball, which is the same name.
Oh, that's how they're credited.
Comic. Well, they literally in the episode this was the guy wearing the mask who had stabbed She-Hulk with the syringe, and it's or tried to stab She-Hulk with the syringe, and his boss or the leader of this crew who called him Thunderball, which is the character from the comics that I'm talking about. So
he actually calls him by name in that moment?
Yeah, he calls him by name, named Thunderball.
Okay, I missed that.
I think it is supposed to be that character. Honestly, if I don't because of the fact that they hired an in-house stuntman and for the role, I think that means it was a very small role. Oh, he's probably not going to come back in the series. So I hope if in the future if they decide to use the Wrecking Crew again, they just recast us and make it be actually accurate to the characters in the comics.
Right, cast an actual Black actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely missed the name call out because I was assuming that this was just kind of a visual nod to the Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew is prominent enough that they're featured in some of Marvel's like board games and video games and card games, and they're on like my little Marvel tear off a day calendar at my office. So like I assumed that we were going to get an actual like Wrecking Crew as a villain in a series or at least a couple of episodes at some point. This didn't feel like that, particularly with the fact that there were no named actors, like no big name actors in the group.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
So I wasn't viewing it as like, this is the Wrecking Crew and these are these characters in the Wrecking Crew. But obviously if they're crediting them as those characters, then yes, he should absolutely have been cast racially appropriately.
Yeah. And as I said, I do not think that they were trying to be racist here, signing with these castings. I think it was simply they're being too lazy and too cheap.
Right, and there's also no reason to take roles away from minorities. Like if the guy is in the comics as a Black man, there's no reason not to give Black stunt actors that opportunity, because there are few enough, successful stunt actors as it is. Why not give a Black stunt actor that opportunity?
Oh yeah. we're getting into this week's episode. This week's episode was called "Is This Not Real Magic?" So we started off this episode with a magic show that's being done by a magician named Donnie Blaze, which I definitely think this was a Ghost Rider Easter egg. I think there's multiple Ghost Rider Easter eggs in this episode.
I feel like it's such a tease, and my theory is there has to be somewhere he got this name from, right? Because it's clearly a stage name.
Oh yeah.
So when are we getting it, Marvel? Like, are you gonna make us wait till She-Hulk season 2? Like, I need to know where it's
it
coming.
Would be so cool for our Ghost Rider to show up in a She-Hulk episode. That would be so fun.
It would be sick. I feel like there's two ways they could go with it. Like they could totally just like slide him into a She-Hulk episode and like a post-credit scene, or they could, have Wong name drop Donnie in a future movie when dealing with the actual Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
There's he's having Wong in the series kind of helps.
I feel like
bridge that gap.
If Ghost Rider were to appear in a She-Hulk episode, like there would be a conversation where She-Hulk is like, you should really have a lawyer with the amount of people that you are killing, quote unquote, for their sins, as in he would just be like, I don't need a lawyer, just drive off.
Be like, it's better if you're not involved.
Yeah.
The less you know, the better.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Robbie Reyes even says that to like several people.
Yep. Oh man, Robbie Reyes was so good in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Good.
He really was.
Like we can't get on this topic, because if we get on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm just like gonna go off in my own little world. Like I'm the biggest Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan.
Oh, me too. I love it so much.
I've been taking one of my best friends through the MCU, doing like a watch along with her. I caught her up through all the movies before, I guess it was No Way Home. Okay. And then after that, we've been doing through all the movies, and then the Disney Plus shows from the last year. And then I started on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with her, and she loves it. She loves it, and I'm so glad. But the more that we've been like seeing little pieces here and there that like there could be some kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D. remnant, or like Sword could be involved, or there's the rumors of Chloe Bennett coming back and Clark Gregg. I said to Katie, I was like, okay, we have to get you at least through the end of season 4 before She-Hulk comes out, because with the presence of the Cube, there's a possibility that somebody could be coming into this show.
I do think there is definitely a possibility. There's they before She-Hulk, the last mention, before Shang-Chi actually, the last mention of Blonsky in Abomination was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Exactly.
Which there was at least a reference to that, with the fact that there was I'm pretty sure I don't remember if it was in the actual episode, if it was just in the credits at the end, but I think in episode 2 on one of the documents on Jen's desk, as there is a S.H.I.E.L.D. logo on it that probably I'm guessing signature teasing on it. Probably about the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. knew, or S.H.I.E.L.D. at least had him in containment at one point, and now that S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer a thing, and to the public knowledge, it was he was put in a different prison, I'm guessing.
Right, and from Miss Marvel, there's something that what's his name? the agent that was in Spider-Man and then was in Miss Marvel from the DODC. I'm not gonna come up with his name. Yes, Agent Cleary. He knows something.
Oh yeah,
and has something else like working.
I'm so hopeful that Cleary makes an appearance in She-Hulk, because I really liked Cleary in those two things, like and especially since Jen literally went to a DODC prison for Blonsky.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like the more little Easter eggs that we've had dropped, the more I've like pushed Shield on my friend. It's like, look, we have to at least get you through like where I think they might still have agreed it happened in this universe.
Yeah, the thing is, so, I try. There are so many people where I will argue with them about it. They're like, oh, they have established that it's not canon. I'm like, they have never actually said that, and also there are literally moments in the MCU movies where they couldn't have happened without the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. happening.
Right, and also they've just established that the Inhuman show is canon. So, like, if that's canon, how's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. not canon? Please explain this.
So
to me.
Though it did sadden me that they did since there's a good chance that the Inhumans exist in the main universe, Earth, they didn't have Lockjaw appear in Miss Marvel. Like,
I know
he would have been so good in there.
I know. I feel like that.
Like, he's like probably the only character that
has to be coming, because you can't,
that people all want.
Right. You can't permanently separate Miss Marvel and Lockjaw. Like. It has to be coming eventually. I don't know what they'll do or how they'll do it, but I'm crossing my fingers. It has to happen eventually.
So
back on track though.
Yeah. Dottie, I asked for a volunteer to come on stage, and this is Madison. And
oh my gosh, I love her.
Oh yeah, I love her too.
I saw somebody on Twitter earlier say she's like a Wanda lookalike, and now I can't unsee it.
I don't see that, but interesting.
It's only in certain scenes, but like with the way that her hair lays,
I can't imagine like, Wanda drunk.
I know, like that in itself is hard to imagine, but like just. So like her facial shape and her hair, and like if you go back to earlier MCU films, like particularly in Age of Ultron, the resemblance is there. She looks like, I don't want to say like Walmart Wanda, but like she looks like she could be a Wanda cosplayer.
Oh man, that would be really
if you put her into a decent costume.
You know, it would be really cool is if Wong and her just continue their relationship and they start going to cosplay events together.
Hilarious. I would watch it.
Oh my god, that would be great.
I would watch it. Here for this.
When people aren't enjoying Donnie's show, he pulls out a sling ring and conjures up a portal that he sends Madison into.
So irresponsible.
We cut to Wong getting ready to watch some Sopranos at his home in Nepal, which it definitely to me looked like it was a Disney Plus that he was watching that on, even though they're not. The Sopranos is not on Disney Plus, and also Disney Plus doesn't exist in Nepal, so I'm wondering if he's using a VPN.
Oh, I'm sure he's using a VPN
somewhere that it is on Disney Plus. What I mean is like the symbols that they use on Disney Plus for the pausing and the
the interface.
Yes, the interface. It looked to me a lot like the Disney Plus one.
It's entirely possible. I know that there are some just like online players that have that simple of an interface. And I wouldn't put it past Wong to be like, free internet, pirate that shit. But But also, like, I can understand why Disney would just, CGI it to make it look, like what they have trademarked.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Avoid any issues.
Yeah, it's just decided that I thought was funny how I like the articulated. It looks like it's Disney Plus. It also, but also then when I started thinking about, it, I was like, wait, Disney Plus doesn't even exist in Nepal.
Are you sure?
I looked it up and it says it doesn't exist in Nepal. But yeah. So and let's see. So
that's so funny because I know they've rolled it out in a lot of places in Asia, but it's entirely possible.
And also the streaming service that we know of that has it of HBO Max, I think that also doesn't exist in Nepal, which is funny.
Yep. Well,
then Madison falls into a room through a portal, and I think she was holding a severed heart.
She was holding something. Like I don't.
Which
like
she
I
did
know
not
that she's
mention
drunk.
that at any other point in the episode. So
No.
I'm wondering if that has something to do with the deal that she made that she's not allowed to talk about.
Right? I understand that she was drunk when it happened, and also she's drunk when she goes on the stand later. But girl, how were you not more traumatized?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I do not understand.
Maybe at this point in the MCU, with there being so many superheroes and aliens everywhere, people just can't be traumatized anymore.
She's just like, whatever happens, whatever. Yep. I don't care. That's just life.
Oh man. So she asks Wong who he is. Is he the Goblin King? Which I thought was really funny.
Hilarious. I mean, to be fair, he's constantly in sorcerer's robes, which I think is really funny considering, like, at least Doctor Strange, at least Steven puts on like some normal people clothes.
Like
sometimes.
I really want at some point, in the She-Hulk series, if he comes back, though I honestly don't want him to be in that many more episodes this season because I don't want him to be the biggest thing in the show. But at least maybe in like a future season, I do hope like he comes back and he does wear like a suit,
like PJs or something.
Yeah, PJs or like a suit jacket for a court case.
Yeah,
that would be really fun.
Jen teaches him how to like dress properly for court.
Yeah. Oh man. Wong asks who she is, and then she goes into her entire life story, and he cuts her off asking if a cut-rate magician sent you here. And she explains that he sent her into a dimish, and that a goat helped her escape in exchange for her 6 drops of her blood. I'm pretty sure this was Mephisto.
I would not be surprised. Like, first of all, later she says it's a demon and gives a name that would be common on Earth.
Yep.
So, like, girl, you just ran into like the devil himself.
Oh yeah, I think so. And like the name she gave was Jake, which I'm thinking that was. I don't know if this is the case in Marvel with demons, but I know in a lot of fiction there's like, if you know the name of a demon, you have control over that demon.
Exactly.
So if it was Mephisto, he would have given a fake name.
Yep. And he would know names that were common on Earth because he's been.
And I bet he can turn into a goat.
Oh, I mean the horns. Hello.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, and I'm on the Mephisto train. I've been on the Mephisto train, like with Eric Voss this entire time watching New Rockstars.
If they reveal that this is not Mephisto, it's just gonna be like, oh my god! At this point, when are we gonna actually get Mephisto? They've been teasing us for so long.
Yeah, no, I've been I've been on that Mephisto train for a hot minute.
Oh yeah, me too. I was absolutely sure they were going to have him in WandaVision.
Yeah, I was
Like-
I was too. I was so ready for it, like to the point where when it didn't happen and then they started teasing Kang and Loki, I was like, it's not gonna happen. I was convinced. I was like, they're leading us up to it and then they're gonna let us down again. It's fine. I'm done. I'm like done believing all the conspiracy theories. And then it happened and I was like, okay, I'm back on the train again.
Yup. Wong tells her that I'll bring you home, and then Madison spoils Sopranos for Wong, causing him to say, "Johnny Blaze is going to pay for this,"
which is such a comic book moment. Like, yeah, honestly,
it's so good. That's
straight
like
from the comics.
Right out of something that could happen in a She-Hulk comic. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, but also like Wong, The Sopranos has been over for how many years? Like, that's not a spoiler anymore. You know better.
I was joking with some people on Discord last night right after watching the episodes. Since I get up at 3 a.m. to watch the episode. And I was talking. I was like, I feel like my co-host Keith probably has watched The Sopranos, and he would probably kill me for saying the fact that I've never seen The Sopranos, so I don't understand these references. And
I've never seen an episode. I've never seen an episode all the way through, but I am what I like to call a professional consumer of content. So I consume enough social media every day, every year to know kind of the cultural zeitgeist. So I got some of it. I at least knew the names and like.
I think really the only thing I know is like I think it's like a mobster family or something. I think that's about all I know.
You got a good start.
Oh man.
Think The Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I and person I was talking to on Discord about it, they were so pissed that there was spoilers for Sopranos in the episode.
Oh my god! It's okay.
They were saying that Madison is the biggest Marvel villain because of this.
Okay, but like, if it's okay for us to talk about spoilers for a Marvel movie on Twitter a month afterward, it is perfectly fine for Madison to have spoiled The Sopranos for Wong years after it was canceled. Like, come on, y'all.
Oh man, yeah. One thing, I feel like there will be people probably who will have a problem with the fact that this is a slightly more comedic Wong, but I for one really enjoyed it.
Wong has always been comedic.
Yeah, he's always been comedic, but I have seen I saw last episode people saying like they were annoyed by the fact that he's a little bit more comedic than he's been. I'm like, and that as you said, he's always been comedic, but also I think that's something you just need to accept, because and people need to understand this is the same as the comics. Every person writing a character provides a slightly different acting version of the character. Like, that's just something you gotta be able to handle. Just right. Just like with like complaints with Thor or Love and Thunder, like he's a little bit different than he's been before. Like, well, you gotta expect that in comic book movies.
There's a realism to it too, right? Like, people contain multitudes, so why shouldn't our comic book characters?
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
So, but like, I don't get the criticism with Wong. Like, Wong has always been since the very first Doctor Strange movie. Like, the man is listening to Beyonce in the library after Steven calls him Beyonce.
I think honestly the most not comedic thing was maybe in Multiverse of Madness, because there were some pretty serious things with Wong in that.
Right, for sure. And like, to be fair, that's at the point where Wong is Sorcerer Supreme, he's already gone through this whole memory erasing
yeah.
nonsense with Stephen Strange, and it's like, okay, for real, you need to stop messing up the multiverse, because like, I'm in charge of this, I have to clean up your messes. And even then, like, he has some comedic scenes, like the scene in the cafe with America.
Yeah, that was a great scene. Like that'd be like, we had a thing with Spider-Man, and he'd be like, huh, a who?
What
A
now?
spider? What?
Right. Like,
oh man.
it's
things like that are actually, I think very smart of them to do, because and also with the jokes they made about the spell in She-Hulk is because it lets the audience know a little bit about exactly how this spell actually worked.
Right, like Wong remembers that something was done. He just doesn't remember what it like.
And people do remember that there is a hero named Spider-Man, and they just don't remember that Peter Parker is who that is.
Spider-Man, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
The way that they're throwing this in, and I do wonder if Wong remembers any of it, just a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, he is a Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, he's a Sorcerer Supreme. Which since and I think the rules of everything set up in What If are canonically the same rules as the MCU. Well, the Sorcerer Supreme with Sinister Strange in that, he grew powerful enough that he could even and see the Watcher. So so I think there's a certain, just like being the Sorcerer Supreme, you have more power to be able to see things for what they really are.
Right.
So watching a Spider-Man and makes me think about how so apparently the writers are like, all of the writers for She-Hulk, they really wanted to include Spider-Man in the series, but they were told they couldn't. So that makes me hope that hope that maybe in like a season 2 they might be able to get a deal with Sony that includes Disney Plus stuff, so that they can get Spider-Man.
Honestly,
in there.
Like, I just need Marvel. I need Disney to figure out what the price tag is for Spider-Man and fork over the money to Sony. Because at this point, Sony is doing themselves a disservice, because they're making subpar films when they're trying to do it without Marvel, and they're hampering Marvel from being able to use the good content that they do have in Spider-Man. So
I think that
it's a mess.
I am absolutely sure that or at least to me, how it's felt with particularly after Morbius, is it feels like you know how sometimes in movies you'll see like when a company they're going bankrupt, there'll be like fire all through the office, everyone's running around just trying to take whatever they can, and it kind of feels like Sony, they're dying, and they're just trying to make as much money as they possibly can, and before they die. And I think that is in part because they realize that until they get Tom Holland back from his hiatus from being Spider-Man, they're going to keep losing money.
Yeah.
People don't care to watch these Spider-Man-less Spider-Man films.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, I think people would care if they were better.
Yeah,
but they're not.
That's the problem. I like the Venom films.
Well,
but,
the first one was watchable.
But then Morbius is just like, oh, why?
and now they're trying to do Kraven the Hunter, and I'm like, how do you do Kraven's Last Hunt without Spider-Man?
That have you heard about heard the rest of what's going on with Kraven the Hunter? If he's not gonna be a hunter,
What?
Instead of hunting animals, he's going to be someone who I think like hunts down hunters. So he's not trying to kill animal
Oh,
themed
he's like a
heroes or
mercenary
anything.
hunter.
Yeah.
He's not like a
He's
poacher.
it's so much the opposite of how he is in the comics. It's like,
I
it's
mean,
crazy.
I don't dislike that take, especially because like poaching's a real problem in Africa.
Yeah.
And like that's
but
something that
also
I
like,
can understand wanting to retool for the modern age.
I don't like how every how Sony seems to have this idea. Oh, every villain, we got to make them at least an anti-hero, if not a hero. Like,
right. Like you
can make a film about a villain and keep them being a villain. Joker showed us that.
Maleficent.
Yeah.
Like Disney did it too.
Yeah, it's you can do that and you can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. So like they're trying to find a way to replace Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not working.
I honestly think Tom Holland, he's like his hiatus that he said. I honestly think that hiatus is more of he doesn't want to just work with Sony, and he knows that how they set up No Way Home to end, they could easily make it so that the next Spider-Man film is just Sony and there's no deal left. So I kind of feel like his hiatus is he's hoping,
he's trying to put the pressure on.
He's hoping to get to put them in the ground so they feel like they have to sell Spider-Man off to Sony to Marvel. Gosh. So that he can be the fully realized Spider-Man.
Especially after like the way that he so publicly played a part in repairing the deal between 2 and 3.
I truly feel like that conversation that he had with Bob Iger, I feel like it was him saying, I don't want to work for Sony. I want to be in Marvel Studios.
I do wonder what's going on with the whole Madam Web situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff with that.
I feel like that sounds like a more promising project, but I
don't trust Sony with it.
I also don't trust Olivia Wilde right now.
Yeah.
But
honestly,
we don't need to go into that whole drama, but like I don't trust Olivia Wilde right now.
So I'm honestly worried about most things that I think Sony's doing right now, because I kind of feel like how Sony takes things is like, when they don't think a franchise is gonna be popular, they let the filmmakers just do what they want with it, and then it ends up being popular. Then then they decide they're going to put their grubby hands on it, and then they destroy it. I feel like it's kind of,
or they continue to let the filmmaker do what they want, but they take all of the advertising budget out of it, and so it never can be great except for the people who choose to go dig into it.
I feel like that's kind of what happened with both Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was they realized people like these franchises, so they decided to get the executives in on it and try to make it very much be more of a studio film, and then that I think is what killed them. It's also the reason why I'm very scared for the Into the Spider-Verse sequel, Across the Spider-Verse. I feel like because I'm pretty sure the first one, reason it did so well is because Sony didn't think it was gonna be that big a thing, and
there were no expectations.
So they let the Phil Lord, whatever their names are who made it, and they just let them work on it while they were working on a different project, a project that people did not like, which was the Emoji Movie. Like that, I feel like Sony, they thought the Emoji Movie was going to be extremely popular, so they put all their focus in on that, while the film that they didn't think would be popular with Spider-Verse ended up being the one that people like.
Yeah, first of all, if that was Sony's reading of the market, that person needs to be fired.
Oh, yeah.
Second of all,
I feel like a lot of companies, they think like, oh, this is popular with the youth, we can make a movie out of this. That, even though that's not how things work.
That's not how that works. Yeah. And I think that we're seeing a lot of that in film and television right now overall. And I think that some people are hitting the nail on the head and some people are not. And it's going over better in some cases than maybe people expected. And in some cases, it's getting unfair backlash. And I think that is a great segue back to She-Hulk, because at the end of episode 3, I listened to your episode, or at least pieces of last week's episode. At the end of episode 3 last week, I am mad about all the backlash with the twerking, because a girl's gonna have fun and a girl's gonna have fun, and like, she's a 30-something adult, like let her dance with her girl, like, hello. And if y'all think that that's inappropriate for young girls to be watching, first of all, you need to be checking on what else they're watching on the internet.
Because if you seriously
see more
think
than you
that's
think
where
they do.
if you seriously think that's where they're getting introduced to sexual things, you're an idiot.
You got another thing coming. And second of all, you should be watching these things with your kids. And if they see something that they're like, Mommy, what's on that? Like, what is that on the screen? Like, you should be able to explain to them that there are different ways that people dance, and there are ways that are appropriate for adults to dance and not for children.
It also, like, there are children who enjoy things like that, and it's not a problem. Like have you seen Turning Red?
I actually haven't. I've been saving it.
Well,
I've been saving.
I don't. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but there is some stuff that relates to stuff like that, and how older generations are like, they get mad about things like that, and children doing things like that, and it's like, and all the children are like, you just gotta realize we enjoy what we enjoy,
right?
And we are real children. Right. Real children do have sexual feelings.
Yeah, kids are growing up, and like, there's a process of them figuring that out, and like, they're going to see things like that, and you need, as a parent, it's your responsibility to be able to have that conversation.
I saw someone was getting mad at me on Twitter trying I say like that scene was basically porn, and I'm like, you have never seen porn in your life if you think that that clothed women dancing is porn.
Okay, it's like, first of all, Tony Stark did that with a pole on his plane in the very first Iron Man movie. So like, if you didn't have a problem with it then, why you got a problem with it now?
I think it's truly partially I think it's manufactured hate, because just because they want to have a reason to hate the project with a female lead, but also this is going along with that is that they hate the idea of women getting enjoyment out of things. And
they hate the idea of independent women and women being able to do things for themselves.
All for men.
It's gross, and I hate it. And I'm so glad that the last episode was basically dedicated as a big fuck you to those people.
Definitely.
Like,
that
brought so much joy to my heart.
Happy. That made me so happy seeing the scene of all the online criticism and stuff. Because the thing is, a lot of those comments, even though they changed them up a little bit for
they're
so
directly pulled from the internet.
They changed them up a little bit so that they actually would fit within the universe.
They changed like the usernames
and they changed the usernames. But literally, people took screenshots and found how literally from the Instagram post from when they announced She-Hulk, these are exact comments from there.
Yep. Like kudos to Jessica Gao and her writer's room for taking inspiration from all the hate and turning it into this incredible episode. And this statement on misogyny. Like
it's so like, and some of those comments are just so crazy. Like this is like someone saying, and this is science was said in literally real life that they made this because of the Me Too movement. How the hell does this have anything to do with that? You're just crazy at that point. If you're saying things like that.
She-Hulk has been a comic for how many decades previous to the movement? Like, hello.
Oh man! And then they also tried to say that the show is not. They also tried to say the show is not accurate to the She-Hulk comics. They're like, this is
one of the most comic accurate shows we've had.
I'm pretty sure this is the most comic book accurate they have ever seen. With how much the fact that all of the She-Hulk comics had these social commentary. Yeah,
the fourth wall breaks, the comedy, the social commentary, like Jen's sense of humor, the legal style proceedings. Like it's so good.
Oh yeah.
It's so comic accurate in terms of like the scale of what has been comic accurate in the MCU. It is top tier.
Definitely. Let's continue on with this episode. So we cut to Jen in an oversized suit as she looks at us saying, you look happy. I guess you saw Wong is back. Everybody loves Wong. It's like giving the show Twitter armor.
Oh girl, I love that. If you only knew.
Yeah. Which I feel like she does know, because Tatiana Maslany, though I'm not sure if it's actually because of backlash, but she actually quit her Twitter a few years ago. So that
I think she quit her Twitter a while ago. I think it was
I think it was near when the announcement was of her being casted as. So she definitely knows about how toxic Twitter is.
Oh, for sure. No, I think it was pre her entry into the MCU, but I might be wrong about that. She's always dealt with misogyny and shitty people on the internet from all of her roles. Even like and people saying she didn't deserve her awards for Orphan Black and like things like that.
It's so funny to me. People try to say like, oh, Orphan Black, they weren't trying to be woke in that. I'm like, they were hella woke because why that was a fantastic series, and it was partially because of the fact that it was that it was very much female empowerment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys, it's crazy.
Yeah. People just want to find reasons to be mad.
Yeah. So Jen's dad comes over to beef up security after the other night, and Jen asks him, "What's the shovel for?" He hilariously says, "Digging holes. We'll leave it at that."
Honestly, this is peak dad energy.
Dad. I love that so much.
I feel like that's totally something my dad would do, even if I were She-Hulk. Like, absolutely peak dad energy.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I honestly think he might. Him and Kamala Khan's dad, best dads in the MCU.
Best MCU dads, truly.
And I want to see a series with those two guys. Like, it would be amazing.
I mean, we've already had a reference to Yusuf, so like,
yeah. Which I after that happened, I was actually looking up like, is there a Yusuf in the comics and stuff? Of the only Yusuf I could find is Kamala Khan's dad. I'm like, I don't think they were referencing him because I feel like her mom would not say he's too young for her.
Right.
If that were the case, but
there's a hero, an Inhuman, that I've seen people theorizing that he might be. I just can't remember what his hero name is. I will look it up and we will talk about it later.
Okay. So Jen tells him that he doesn't have to worry. Or his daughter is a Hulk. And he asks what police said, and she says, "Police stuff." Because she didn't call him. I love that line of police stuff.
Yeah.
Which it makes a little bit of sense that he would want her to call them, because at least in the comics he was a sheriff. I don't know if they're saying in the MCU that he is, but in the comics honestly he was. Though I do feel like he is someone who's probably on the right side of history, probably without or at least one of the good cops probably.
He's I would say he's probably in the camp of the law is the right side of things, because his daughter's a lawyer. So
but just based on how he acts, I don't think he would be like what a lot of cops are like. So,
well, and to be fair, a lot of cops in the MCU are like that. So
on a less like serious but since I don't want my podcast to all be about the politics with cops. So he asked her if she what was she gonna do if they come back, and Jen just badassly says, "I'll kick their asses again, and you can use the shovel." Oh, it's so good.
It's the best thing he brought for his own defense. She's got her Hulk powers. Although I do wonder, like, if genetically Jen and Bruce's family is predisposed to have these conditions where they can handle the gamma radiation, like, what would happen if Jen's dad were exposed to her blood?
Man. I want to see Dad Hulk now.
Whole family of Hulks. I need
that sounds awesome. Dad Hulk.
Dad Hulk.
Yeah. Oh man. And it since Jessica Gao was a writer on Rick and Morty, this reminded me about how in that series there's Rick and Morty they kill they don't kill, but they bury versions of themselves from different universes in their backyard. So that reminded me of that.
No, I haven't seen Rick and Morty, but
using a shovel for something.
Yep.
Which I'm pretty sure something like that is what they're planning using it for if they were to use it.
Digging holes. That makes sense.
WA holes for people to go into. So at we cut to Jen's office where we see her day planner, which there's a lot of things on there. There's but two main things I wanted to bring up that I thought was cool. One, there was apparently something about a court case of Lee versus is Buyer, which that being obviously based on Stan Lee, and also I think it's like John Buyer or something is one of the people who wrote She-Hulk comics, or maybe Byron, something like that. Yeah, so that's cool, a bit of a reference. But also, and this is one that I thought was really interesting. So they mentioned that and that apparently Jen is supposed to call her mom about Dad's birthday plans. I'm hoping that means we're getting a birthday episode for Jen's dad.
I would
really
be
love
so
that idea.
excited for that. I would love for that to be the next episode.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. Just imagine, like, she goes to her dad's birthday party and immediately everyone's asking her about the her being sued by Titania.
Lord.
And she would just immediately the whole time be telling him, please stop talking about me. It's my dad's day.
Right. I did just read it's Lee versus Byrne.
Okay, Byrne.
John Byrne.
Yeah. Which I think that's a pretty cool reference.
Yeah. I love that they're continuing to like throw little Stan Lee cameos into places, even though he can't be here anymore.
Yeah, and so I put out this week a TikTok video about what I would if he were still alive. I would have wanted from a cameo from Stan Lee in the show.
Oh yeah.
Which it's that idea was basically it wouldn't have been in much of a joke cameo. It would more be it would be this post credit scene where Jen uses her break fourth wall powers to come into our world, and like she goes into Stan Lee's office just basically tell him how she's thankful for creating her for this for creating this world and allowing her to be able to talk about real issues, and then he would have like a inspiring speech and I would have it end with like him say he would tell her, you should go, but you don't want to hear from me. Go back to finish your show. And then as she gets up, she'd be say, wait, before I go, Stan, you remember how back in the Incredible Hulk you had that soda that had some of Hulk's blood in it, and like Stan would just cut her off saying, you want me to change, don't you? He would turn into a Stan Lee version of the Hulk, and just and as the last thing, ending off this post-credit scene, he would say, as a hulked out version of himself, Excelsior. I think that would be the perfect way to have a cameo from him in this series if he were still around. Oh man,
that would be pretty great.
Let's see. So next thing is we see a Jen make a dating app profile, and then
first of all, girl, on your work computer. That's an easy way to get fired.
Well, I don't think they would fire her because she's She-Hulk, because they want her to be the face of this company.
I mean, yes, she does. She does have a little bit of armor there, but yeah, easy way to get.
Holloway didn't seem to care when he caught her twerking with Megan Thee Stallion.
That's deepening the client attorney relationship, though. That's like making sure that the customer is happy.
You know what would have been really funny is if Holloway just joined them and started twerking himself.
Oh God, I don't think I need to see that.
Oh man.
Oh
no. So Nikki walks in saying, hey, let's watch your interview on the news. They're replaying it. And she also says that we need to get you some new clothes, which it makes me really want to have an episode where Nikki is like the B plot of the episode. Nikki is going around Los Angeles trying to find iron suit shops that will make Hulk-sized suits for Jen.
So here's what I want. So we've had a Megan Thee Stallion cameo, right?
Yeah.
I want a cameo from some famous designers, and I think the prime candidate for this is Christian Siriano. He is a former Project Runway winner. He's very well known for dressing celebrities on the runway, particularly celebrities who are he's one of the highest profile designers who will dress plus size celebrities and celebrities with disabilities. And so I feel like he would be a prime candidate for Nikki to go to and be like, will you dress She-Hulk?
I love that. I love that idea. And I feel like I feel like things like that, I think we could see more of things like that in a season 2. Especially because I think if they make a season 2, Tatiana Maslany is going to have a hell of a lot more control over it because she's they're not because they're not going to fire her for asking for things like this, like asking for or having someone appear who's a very a very good person that that people should know about and like also have you seen in real life how for a lot of interviews she wears this support trans futures shirt?
Yes, I love it.
Which I feel like I honestly
she does interviews and that kind of stuff.
I honestly feel like if they give her a season 2, I think she'll have enough control over the series that she might be able to ask them to include a trans character in the series as give her another best friend who is a trans character. I think that would be so cool for them to do.
That would be super cool.
And I've heard people say like, they think that they would that because Disney is not they don't think Disney is going to be willing to put things like that in a show. They might fire her for insisting on having that in there. I don't think they would, because the thing is that would be quite a bit the opposite of a situation like with Gina Carano, where instead of her saying shit that is against what Disney wants to put out as their values, this is something that they would want to put out as their values. It looks good on them. So I think there's actually a big possibility that could
right. And I mean, hopefully that's not something that she would have to push very hard for. She would be like, hey, can we do this? And Disney would be like, yeah, that's a great idea. We should totally do that. Like, but hopefully, as Disney is increasing their representation in their properties, that would be something that they'd be receptive to.
I think especially as she goes on in the MCU and she becomes more of a prominent figure in it, she's going to get more power and being able to get things like that added.
Yeah, I would hope she would be an executive producer on a season 2.
Just like how people seem to think that Disney is going to would be willing to fire any of these actors if they said something that Disney didn't like. We know that Disney's not going to fire someone for spoiling shows, even though there's all these jokes about how the Disney snipers, but Mark Ruffalo and Tom Holland, they
still have jobs.
They still have jobs. And I think the reason for that is because Disney knows that how much backlash they're going to get if they fire these people.
Well,
you can't just fire someone who's in such a big franchise, in such a big role.
Right. And not to mention they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to fire somebody who is doing okay, but then they stick their foot in their mouth very publicly and then double down on the problematic things that they're saying, refuse to apologize. It's another thing entirely to fire somebody because they accidentally spoil something, or they make a suggestion or a request that should have been on the radar in the first place.
Definitely. But like there's people who try to say like, they would do the same thing that they would do with Gina Carano, but I'm like, this is like the complete opposite situation. Like instead of it being something that is against what Disney wants to put out as their views, it's something that Disney very much wants to put out as their views. So And like, and if they told her no, you can't have that in it, I feel like someone, Tatiana Maslany is someone who she has the she would be willing to risk it all. I'll tell them that I will walk if you don't put things like this in
Oh
there. I
yeah,
think
she
she is that
she has the guts, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
has the money, the employability too.
Yeah.
Like she has the acting chops to go wherever she wants. She came to Marvel
Yeah.
because, I mean, the money's got to be good, but also because it's a role that she believes in,
Yeah.
and a project that she believes in, and a writer's room and a director she wanted to work with. Like Jessica
Oh, yeah.
Dow was somebody she wanted to partner with to create this project. And so
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that, you know, she would definitely be receptive to, you know, requests to put in more progressive characters.
Yes.
And, you know, increased representation.
Yeah.
I think somebody like Christian Siriano would be a really fun, like, sort of gateway character to some
Oh,
of that.
yeah.
Like he's he's very flamboyant, and he's completely unapologetic about his style
Nice.
and his
love
just the way
that.
that he goes after things. He's dressed Lizzo, he's dressed Oprah, he's dressed Cardi B, he's also dressed Scarlett Johansson, so like he has a little bit of connection to the MCU
Nice.
already. He's also dressed Ashley Graham, who's I think in This Is Us. I might be confusing her with
now
else.
another celebrity cameo I'd like to see. This isn't one that's on that is for as like big reasons like having that fashion designer but this is more so just because I know that this actor really likes the show, or at least he says he really likes the show, and that's Danny DeVito. I would love to have Danny DeVito show up in the She-Hulk episode. He did an interview just this past week where he was talking about how he loves of She-Hulk so much, and how he loves strong female characters like that.
That's amazing.
That really does make me want to just see something him appear some character in She-Hulk. I even would not mind if he played a fashion designer to give She-Hulk a suit like like a really short person making the suit for this massive tall lady. That'd be awesome.
I'm wrong. Ashley Graham is one of the most high profile plus size models. I was confusing her with Chrissy Metz, but I think Chrissy Metz, who is on This Is Us, has also been dressed by Christian Siriano.
Okay. When the newscaster asked about the name She-Hulk, Jen says as they're watching it, "You ding dongs came up with that." I really love that line so much.
She's not wrong.
Oh man, it's so good. And honestly, it would have been amazing if she had actually said that on the air on the news.
I'm proud of her. Like, me being in marketing and as a sports journalist, like, I'm proud of her that she didn't, because that's media training at work, baby.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would have been amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's Wong then and comes in through a portal to talk about his legal situation, and he explains to Jen the situation with Donnie Blaze, and Jen asks him if Donnie signed an NDA or a contract when he started training. Wong says no. But the students pledged themselves to the mystic arts verbally. So helpful.
No.
Oh, man. He tells her how they answer to a higher power. And just sure, but this is the American legal system. We gotta do it by the books. And Vaughn says, "Oh, the Book of Ashanti."
The Book of American Laws.
Yeah. It's so good.
It cracks me up. It's
Oh man.
It just reminds us how little time Wong has spent in America, because he spent so much time in Kamartaj in Nepal, and then he was in the London Sanctum, he was in the Hong Kong Sanctum. So like his time in New York has been really, really small.
Yep. Definitely.
So like, and even then when he's been in New York, he's been in the Sanctum. He hasn't like been going around America. So for him to have an understanding of the American legal system, like,
yeah, you
probably
can't
pretty
really
unlikely.
expect that. So Jen and asked him to leave his info with her, or his contact info with her this time, and he gives her a business card with text appearing on it, and he says as cheap human tricks. And then he pulls out. So this card has no phone number on it, has no actual information to contact him. It also just says master of the mystic arts or something.
He says human tricks.
Yeah.
Wong, is there something you want to tell us? Are you a Skrull? Are you a Skrull, sir?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Have Skrulls learned how to use the mystic arts? Because like, you're still human, even if you're a sorcerer.
I could easily see them.
If a Minotaur can,
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I had the green Minotaur. Oh man.
Yeah. Exactly. So like, I think it was just like a way of saying, you know, mundane human. But like, that wording like made me kind of side eye a little bit. Be like,
what I was more wondering. I think this here is, does he not have a phone? And I'm like, does this guy? He's fine with having a TV, but not having a phone for people to call him. Interesting.
It's probably a number he doesn't want to publicize, considering, you know, his line of work.
I feel like he would trust us, Jen, though, with it. But
I would hope so by this point, considering he's now sought her out twice.
Yeah.
But
though it makes me wonder how did Nikki send him that thirst trap app last episode?
I'm assuming via LinkedIn, which is messed up, girl. Like, you don't send people thirst traps via LinkedIn. That's for business work.
Oh man. Oh, so we cut to Jen and Nikki at a bar. As Jen's finishing off working on some paperwork, and Jen or Nikki tells her, now your dating profile. Jen ignores this, is that say that on to Blonsky's parole brief. Woo woo.
Did you just woo woo a brief?
It's so good.
I regretted it as soon as it came out of my mouth.
And then this asshole guy comes up to them saying some disgusting shit, which
I mean, to be fair, there are lots of worse things that I'm sure Jen has had said to her and Nikki has had said to her, and that I've had said to me, to be perfectly honest with you. And like, I haven't had a whole lot of periods in my life where I've been, you know, single going out to bars with my girlfriends, because I was a serial monogamist before I got married. So like, there haven't been very many periods of my life where I've been like going out to the bars and doing those things, and yet still I have had men coming up to me saying terrible things.
Yeah, sadly,
and that's
a
part
lot
of
men
why
suck.
this show is so relatable, is because it happens to almost every woman.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons
it's not every man.
That's one of the main reasons I wanted to have every week on for She-Hulk reviews. I wanted to have females on, because I don't think it would be right for me to review it just as a guy. Looking at this, I think I need to show the female perspective on these things, because these are things that do affect you more than they would me.
And I absolutely appreciate that, and that's part of why I wanted to come on the show with you, for sure. But yeah, it's like I was saying, it's not every man, but it's almost every woman who experiences these kinds of things.
And that's something that more people need to know about, the fact that happens, so we can hopefully at some point change our society's view on these things.
Right. And not just know it, but like understand the way that it affects people, and believe that it's actually happening. Like, we're not just overreacting or exaggerating. Like, this is a real problem in the way that men treat women.
Definitely. And
like overall, in the grand scheme of like the way men talk to women at bars, that man was on the respectful end. Let me just like sadly say that.
Yeah, it's sad that so like that even need to be said.
Yeah.
So Jen says that people like him are why I don't date, and Nikki says there's non-gross guys out there. Show me your matchup profile. Jen's like, no. And she just says, Jennifer. I really found it hilarious that Nikki uses her actual whole name, to emphasize how she's demanding you let her see your profile.
I mean, my best friends and I do that to each other all the time.
I love that. And Nikki immediately says, no, we're not using your corporate headshot. And Jen says exactly why I didn't want to show you. And she's like, no judgment, just a really bad choice. And she starts swiping on every single guy.
So you can't see which way she's swiping the whole time. So like, she's not necessarily swiping.
Based on the dialogue, I was thinking that she was she was swiping Ivy out every single guy, and then based on whoever accepts, then they will start narrowing
the
down.
Real filtering happens. I've never used a dating app. All of my dating was pre-dating apps. That, showing my age a little bit, but to be fair, I think that is a little bit how some people will do it. Like some people take it more seriously, but some people are just like, look at whoever once we get matches. But that's also a real quick way to get some creepy people.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, I think that's unfortunately what Jen ends up with.
Yep, definitely. It's like I've never actually had a girlfriend myself or been on a date, but I don't want to ever try a dating app because I'm like, that just doesn't seem appealing at all.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's unfortunately just turned into like the way to meet people, unless you have like a friend to set you up with somebody. My brother got very lucky and I think met somebody on a dating. I think that's how he met his girlfriend, on a dating app, but like that's like one in about like several hundred people I know that have used dating apps and been unsuccessful.
So
not a ringing endorsement.
Yeah. So Jen obviously doesn't like Nikki doing this, and Nikki, while doing this, she says hetero life is grim, which I'm guessing that means that Nikki's not straight, which I love that they confirmed that in the show.
Yeah, I would really like to know, like, okay, is she only into girls, or is she just like playing the field? That's the main reason why I would be here for some bi representation.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I said not straight, because I don't want to assume either way whether she's a bi or simply lesbian as me. I don't want to assume that, but I would be happy either way, because that would be because I think this show has the chance to make her sexuality to be the most prominent on it of really any of the Marvel shows doing something like that. So it excites me, and I hope that we get some scenes of her on dates with some ladies.
Well, and it also completely subverted my expectations because I don't have a strong She-Hulk comic background. Like, I know the tone and like some of the cornerstone moments of She-Hulk, but like her supporting characters, I'm not super familiar with. So like,
okay,
my
Nikki
expectation
isn't even from the comics. It's the original character.
Okay, that's what I thought. My expectation was they were going to set her up with Pug, and like that was going to be like a thing down the road.
I thought there was a chance of that, but also Pug is one character who I do know a little bit about him from the comics. They haven't really gotten into this at all in the show, but in the comics, Pug has a huge crush on She-Hulk.
Okay.
Which is side that I kind of love because I have a crush on She-Hulk. So he's a character I could relate to, and also like a character where even if he has a crush on She-Hulk, unlike a lot of the men in the series, he's very respectful. Which is important.
Which is an important counterpoint to include. Yeah. Like there's a way to have a crush on She-Hulk and not be a dick.
Oh yeah, and like I don't know if you've seen but I do. I have like a lot of thirst tweets on it's on Twitter about She-Hulk, but I think that I do it in a way where I think it is respectful, and I would never ever do something that I think that could possibly be disrespectful. I think I would, and if anyone ever told me the sign that I did was disrespectful, I would immediately either delete it or apologize for it, because I that's not the person I want to be.
Sure. Yeah. I haven't seen any of them.
No, I'm just saying because that's is something I think is important to mention, because I don't want it to seem like I'm just sexualizing She-Hulk and objectifying her. Or I want to be a respectful as all hell with anything I do.
That's appreciated.
Yeah. Let's see. So
going Nikki, back to Nikki.
Yeah. Nikki asks, what if you made a profile as She-Hulk? Jen gets a really big smile saying, I thought you hated the name She-Hulk. And Nikki says, I do, but I can't stop saying it. It's really catchy.
I love those like little moments that they're dropping with She-Hulk in this, and then we end with the tag with the
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I honestly think, that though I understand very much why Jen has a problem with that name, I think as the series goes on, she's going to start liking the name more.
She's going to embrace it.
Yeah, she's going to make it her own and make it so no one can insult her by saying it. And like, that is and
first she's got to win the lawsuit, though.
It. Yeah. Jen says if she's gonna date, that it'll be as Jen, that she already has to be a She-Hulk at the office. And then a ding happens, and Jen says, see, I don't have to be She-Hulk to get a date. We then cut to Donnie and Cornelius. I'm not exactly sure what Cornelius was to him. Like, is maybe a manager or something, or
I think it's
literally just a hype man.
I think it's the owner of the Mystic Castle establishment, and Donnie was the act that he had hired there.
Okay,
that was the impression that I got.
Okay, yeah, because that was one thing I was a little confused about. So I was like, I don't know exactly what that guy I is. He's just like a friend or something. I to Dottie. So Jen and Wong are at the office to give them a cease and desist. Um, Wong starts trying to use Ooze magic in response to Dottie trying to say that he's more mystical than Wong. Jen stops him, and then Jen gives them the cease and desist. I said, and then they try to say, what cease and desist, as they use sleight of hand to put it in his shirt. And Jen just said, I can see it hanging out of your shirt, which I thought was just so funny. And and particularly how how Cornelius was just like, push it into the shirt or some more.
Well, and like they're throughout the episode, they're just like notoriously bad.
Oh yeah,
at the sleight of hand stuff. Like you can see all of the like switcheroos and stuff happening.
Yeah. I think the most noticeable one to me was the bunny in the courtroom.
Yes, the bunny in the courtroom was egregious.
So Wong then does a trick where he pulls the metal ball that Dottie was playing with out of his mouth, saying, "Got your ball," which I thought that was pretty funny.
I love that Wong also knows how to do sleight of hand magic in addition to being the Sorcerer Supreme. That cracks me up.
Yeah, I know probably like me laughing at the at Joey like, I got your ball. It's probably really immature, but I don't care. I just thought that was funny. Yeah.
It is kind of a dick measuring contest.
Yep. Exactly. So we then cut to Jen on a date with this jerk who just keeps talking about himself. If we find out a little bit later, his name's Alan. And he also starts ogling at other women at the bar are in the middle of this date, which is
all of the
crazy.
cardinal mistakes of a first date. Like, can't stop talking about himself, looks at other women, doesn't listen to her, looking at his phone, going on the dating app while they're there. Like,
yep,
so many red flags, many.
So Jen starts telling him a bit about herself, even talking a bit about how she's a hawk, but he's obviously not listening. No. The check comes, and then and Jen ends up having to pay for it, and they really tried to make this scene like so epic with the music, which was hilarious.
It was supposed to be like a Mexican standoff in terms of like who's gonna get the bill first, and then he's not even going for his wallet. He's like going for his keys, like, bye.
Yep. Up and the guy leaves as he gets a call, and like this asshole told whoever he was talking to that she's a 6 maybe. Like,
my dude,
what?
If Tatiana Maslany is 6, like your standards will always be impossible to reach. Yep. We're never gonna find the one for you.
Yeah, like she's like 11 million, and everyone should know that.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Imagine thinking Tatiana Maslany's a 6.
God. Oh, so we got to the courtroom for the Blaze case. As the judge asks if Jen and Wong have a witness to say if they're telling the truth about this gross negligence, and Jen looks at Wong asking, "Do you want to win this case or not?" And so Wong then reluctantly portals Madison in, which Madison here for the first time of the episode calls Wong Wongers. I love that nickname.
Oh my God,
it's so good.
It's adorable. I love. Honestly, I can't tell if they're like drunk girl besties or if they're gonna date. I honestly don't
wouldn't
care.
mind whatever they do.
I honestly don't care.
I
Like,
just
it's
want
cute
more of
either
them.
way. I want more.
Oh yeah, man, so good. Oh, so let's see. Jen and takes the very drunk Madison up to the stand and asks her about what happened. Madison hands her drink to the guard, which his facial
You can
just
finish
response.
it if you want. I'm not sick.
The guard's facial response was just so hilarious. She's just like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Oh my god, that's probably the closest we will get to a COVID reference in the MCU.
Yep. Yeah. Since it really wouldn't honestly make sense for them to have COVID references, since it's we're in like 2025 or something now. At least I hope there's not much problem with the COVID by then, but I wouldn't be surprised if we still do.
Yep. Never know.
Though hopefully, hopefully it's simply that within that world they didn't have to deal with such a horrible thing.
That would be ideal.
Even though they had another, possibly even worse thing to deal with, and with half of all humanity dying.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So
it just struck me because I was like, oh, she's gonna share, but she's not sick. That's funny. That's a little bit of a meta joke.
Yep, definitely. So while explaining what happened, he says this goat demon was named Jake, and which also I think it's really funny how she brings up for a second time. I didn't write it down the first time, but for a second time she mentions how the rose that Donnie gave her has no smell, meaning it's probably fake.
I mean, yeah,
fake, but she can't tell it's actually fake because she's drunk.
Right. Like, girl, they were probably plastic. So, you should have been able to tell that before you could tell they had no smell.
Yeah. Though I'm wondering though, so where was she that she was getting drunk in the middle of the day for when this trial's happening, or was she on another side of the world where it's nighttime?
It kind of looked like nighttime wherever she was, either that or she was like in a dark club. Because like when Wong opened that portal, it was definitely dark on the other side. Yeah. I wonder if Wong left her somewhere in Asia.
Maybe.
Like in Nepal. Just like chilling.
Yeah.
At a bar near Kamartaj. Girl.
Oh man. So, which I can't imagine him doing that, but
I mean,
makes
she
sense.
would be safe-ish there.
Well, though it may make sense that she did not tell him where she lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Jen asks about her emotional state during all of this. She says it was fun, and then scary, then fun again, then spooky, but in a fun way. And then she sits down with Jen and Wong. Dottie's lawyer tries to get the case dismissed because Donnie's show is spooky and fun, and that you can't copyright magic.
That's true. There has been precedent for that, and I remember reading something about that. I think there was a case with Penn and Teller actually. With
interesting.
That. My husband really likes the show Fool Us with Penn and Teller, where people try and like do magic tricks that they can't figure out.
I've not really watched full episodes of that, but I've watched some clips and there's some really cool things. Yeah,
for sure. No, I went down like a Wikipedia rabbit hole on them for a little while, so like I'm pretty sure that's one of the cases where there's precedent that you can't copyright magic tricks. However,
but Jen had the perfect response to this.
Right.
Those are for card tricks or for disappearing women who never speak. This is different because mystic arts is real magic.
Right.
Which I still don't know if you could actually copyright something like that, but
I don't know that it's necessarily copyrightable, but it would be something under the same regulations as her superhuman powers, where she would need to register with the Sokovia Accords and with the UN. And
which apparently Jessica Gao said in an interview that they are going to bring up those up the Sokovia Accords this season and what happened to them, since we haven't heard about them in a while. I'm wondering when that's going to be, because we're 4 episodes in, we haven't heard of anything yet.
I'm very interested to know.
Yeah. Especially since I was that was one thing that annoyed me with No Way Home, is like he should have had trouble with the Sokovia Accords but they didn't even mention them. And since and this should be like Sokovia Accord should have a problem with this superhero who never registered the public thinking he murdered someone.
Right.
So see next say so Donnie and his team start performing tricks. Even the lawyer does, and they're asking, is this not real magic? And then and Wong has a big speech about how dangerous this all is, which he's right. Yeah, he's definitely right. That speech kind of to me sounded like the but the big thing in Multiverse of Madness is that causes realities to hit into each other. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, the incursion.
Yes, the incursions.
Yes.
It kind of felt, that speech kind of felt like those, and like he's basically teasing, like he's teasing Secret Wars with that line.
Potentially.
Which I expect Wong will probably play a big role with the all in Secret Wars, since being the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, probably.
So let's see. The judge says you'll have my decision in a few weeks, and Jen asks that the judge prohibit Donnie from doing these tricks. And Donnie says, but this is my life, my passion, magic. He throws another smoke bomb, to which the judge tells him, stop throwing smoke bombs. I found that so funny. The judge saw
she has a good point. How did he get those past security?
And then Donnie is able to sway the judge to let him keep hosting shows by putting a rabbit on his table for her to see. I feel like that if anything should make her be even more in the opposite favor, because I don't think you're supposed to bring animals into a courtroom. Just like you're not supposed to bring smoke bombs into a courtroom.
Yeah, I don't know. If it were me, I would absolutely say no, but I'm not a judge.
So
also, the mystic arts are still relatively secret and not understood by the public at large, because even with Doctor Strange playing a part in saving the world from Thanos, they
didn't see him doing that.
A, they didn't see him doing that. B, the only thing that would exist in recounted tales, like in Scott Lang's podcast, for instance, of the sorcerers doing it, would be their portal entry.
Yeah. And
their shields from the from where Thanos rained fire.
Yeah. And then Doctor Strange stopping the water.
Holding back the water. Overall, in terms of the grand scheme of the magic that they're capable of, that's nothing.
Yeah, but also I wouldn't even be surprised if he wouldn't have mentioned and much about with Doctor Strange, because no, he would probably mention the portals showing up everywhere, but I don't know that he would mention a lot specifically about Doctor Strange, because unlike the other heroes or a lot of the other heroes, he's never met Doctor Strange. He doesn't know Doctor Strange at all.
Right, because Doctor Strange was not in Civil War.
Yeah. I imagine he would have mentioned a lot about Captain America, about Iron Man, and any of the Avengers that he's met, but and knows about what they can do and stuff. But I feel like a lot of the other characters, since there's way too many characters for him to really be able to talk about in his podcast, he probably would have I would have just left people out that he doesn't know.
We know that he talked about Captain Marvel, at least because of Miss Marvel, and they had never previously met. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like Strange is more secretive in general and could potentially have even asked Scott to like tone it down. I don't need to be in your stories, kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. And Donnie, as he walks out, he says, "I also have a bird," and he flips them off.
That, I'll admit, that was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
But also, anytime anybody mentions a bird in the MCU, I think of Iron Man 2. I vaunt my bird.
Oh man, which honestly, I don't think there's been a single time where there's been and someone flipping someone off in the MCU where I did think it was funny.
Fair.
Especially in episode 1 when Jen flips off Hulk.
Yep.
That was great. Oh man. So Wong asks, "Can we send Andani to the mirror dimension? He probably won't die." And Jen says, "I would love that, but no, it'll ruin our case."
I love that in the credits we see an illustration of him sending him to the mirror dimension.
Yeah. It's so good.
It's so good.
And this is very contrast from how Jen was before she really knew Wong last episode, where when he mentioned we could send and Blonsky into the mirrorverse and then mirror dimension, and Jen and she was like, no, we can't do that. No, definitely not. But so it's this where she's like, I would like to do that. I would definitely like to do that. Oh man. So then Wong and Madison had to go get Froyo, and Madison spoils another thing from The Sopranos for Wong. Then that night, Jen is at her house finishing a brief, and she asks Nikki on the phone to proofread it tomorrow. And Nikki's like, "You do realize tomorrow is Saturday, right?" She's like, "Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely realize that. And also that tonight's Friday."
That's definitely a thing that I know.
Yeah, Nikki is like, "You aren't already in your pajamas, right?" Jen says, no, I have plans with lots of successful swiping. She hangs up, and I'm pretty sure when we heard, or as Jen was hanging up, I'm pretty sure Nikki said bull to bull. I think she was going to fill that out with bullshit. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like I don't believe you for a second that you have a lot of swipes, right. Successful swipes.
My best friends would know me better than that.
Oh man. Jen gets an alert, but sadly it's just to tell her she has no matches, which as she says, why the hell is there an alert for that? That's just
she's a point.
Yeah, like oh man. She sighs and then turns into She-Hulk and tells the audience, "I'm not proud of this," as she starts taking pictures of herself as She-Hulk, and then she starts swiping, which, though she says she's not proud of this, she definitely was enjoying herself taking those pictures.
She was having a little bit of fun, and like I can't really blame her. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It's almost like, you know, putting on sort of a different persona and like going, putting on a show a little bit, going on stage. Like you learn to kind of like the spotlight after a little while.
Oh yeah. oh, she puts her phone down, but then immediately starts getting matches, and she says, I think probably one of the best, most hilarious lines in the episode. But she says, "Well, that's demoralizing for Jen," which that's
not
really
wrong.
funny. That's really funny, but also I found it interesting how she instead of calling her saying that's really demoralizing to me, she said to Jen, and which makes me wonder a little bit if she's developing a quote unquote another guy like what Bruce said, but it also could be just she's commenting on the fact that people think of them as two different people.
Yeah, it also can be like a little bit of her trying to like divide her personalities in her mind a little bit, like, okay, I'm keeping this part of my life with She-Hulk and this part of my life with Jen, and like trying to keep them separate, and it's just not working for her.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love that. I love that so much. So we then get a montage of her going on dates with a lot of annoying dudes. I really liked her telling one person how she could lift a literal ton. I did not like his response though of like,
oh well, I can do 600. Yeah. It's like, okay, I mean, cool. Great. Good for you, I guess.
Yeah, it's and then there's one guy who tells her how he's a fan and he thought her fight with Titania was incredible, which I really like that joke and Jen's response to it. It's so good. And he starts asking if she's invulnerable. And Jen says that she doesn't know, that she's not looking to get herself killed. So she hasn't checked. I love that response too, and that the guy starts asking about other superpowers, and he asks if vibranium could cut her skin. I
feel like he's gonna be back.
Yes, I definitely think he's gonna be coming back.
He's a little too curious, and it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, she asked if he has some, if he wants to test it jokingly, and then he says, "No, God, you're so powerful. Oh, what a specimen." This guy, he's so he feels like such a creep, but I encourage that. But as I said, I do think there is more to this guy. We're going to see him again, and partially why I feel that is because his casting in the show was actually announced before the show, which you wouldn't do that for just a cameo. There wouldn't be a big deal made about his casting if it was just for this cameo.
What is his
name? Doesn't mean anything. I think like maybe John Brass, something like that. And the casting thing said how that he was he plays a Tony Stark wannabe, who's this a rich playboy philanthropist, who's just he's a douchebag instead of someone who's actually a good person like Tony was. Yeah, so
let me see if I can find him.
I think there's a good chance he comes back, and I also would not be surprised if maybe he is the boss behind the Wrecking Crew. And I was thinking based on him asking about her being indestructible. If he's like maybe he came on the state trying to find out information about how to get into her skin to get her blood.
John Bass.
Yeah.
Let's see. He plays Todd.
Yeah.
There's no description of the character on IMDb.
Yeah.
But he is, I mean, the top credited person with only one episode.
Interesting. I would not be surprised if just like everything else on IMDb, it's just that's a placeholder. I wouldn't be surprised if, since like you'll see on IMDb, it shows like every episode after that episode, it shows like Daredevil will say all the rest of the episodes after that he's in, even though we know he's probably not going to be in all of them.
Right.
And I think it's just a placeholder until they actually know how many episodes someone's going to be in.
Right. He's also named. His name is Todd, and all the other guys she goes on dates with, they're called Skeevy Guy number 1, 2, and 3.
There's definitely something more about with him. Yeah,
I agree.
Let's see. She finally meets it's this guy who seems like a good guy. He hates to talk about himself and wants to know about her. And he asks if they should split some fries. Which she responds, yeah, let's get those to go. Which I really liked how she said that, and the smirks she had on her face when she said that. We cut to another Donnie Blaze show. As Donnie tries to open a portal to send it and another girl through again, but happily this time the girl knows what he's doing, and she says, "I refuse to go into your weird fire hole."
Fire hole.
Which I love it being called on fire hole.
Yes.
Can you imagine in a Doctor Strange film, just the entire time, instead of calling them portals, they just call them the weird fire holes. That would be amazing.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh man. So Dottie says, "Fine, no fire hole. Well, let's try something a little different." And he summons a bird using magic, which I simply wrote, "Dumb idea." And
it's like, you know where that bird came from because you made the portal where it came from.
Yep.
So
the bird,
your fault, my dude,
drops an egg into the girl's hand, and it cracks open to reveal a baby demon. And so Dottie then opens a portal to hell, and he kicks the demon through, but being an idiot
to close it,
he just doesn't close that damn portal. Tons of little demons come out of the portal, terrorizing everyone. And Dottie though still tries getting people to stay, even though all of this is happening. He tells them that this is only the beginning of the show.
Dumbass.
What?
Yeah, no. At that point, you gotta abandon ship, my dude.
Yeah.
Like, you messed up. Own up
well,
to it. Save everyone.
Even if he tries to continue his show, no one is gonna pay attention to his show at this point.
Right. Like,
why would you even try that?
Yeah, you need to own up and try and save people, because if not, they're going to sue the place that you work for.
Happily, so we cut to Wong watching TV, and Donnie portals in asking for his help, and Wong tells him, "Just for the record, I'm doing this for the universe, not you." And Donnie asks, "What should he do?" And Wong tells him, "Call my lawyer," as he goes to fight the demons. Which this again is another reason why I'm wondering if there's if Wong does not carry a cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we then cut to Jen with the fries guy, which is why I'm gonna call him, since I don't think he got a name.
Fries guy. He did. It's Arthur.
Okay, Arthur.
I just saw it on IMDb.
Arthur. So she's talking with him about how her boss forced her to Hulk out in the middle of work, and the guy acts very nice and talks about how swipe dating is so demoralizing. Jen checks her phone and sees it's Donnie, and she doesn't answer, which it makes me wonder, why should she have Donnie Blaze saved in her phone contacts. Like, she's not his lawyer, so that surprised me.
The only theory I would have is that she has him saved in case they need to contact him for something related to the case, or
Makes sense.
or in case he does try to call her, because there are some rules in place that when you're engaged in a case against someone, that you're not supposed to contact their lawyer. It has to be lawyer to lawyer. It can't be defendant to lawyer or plaintiff to lawyer, or defendant to plaintiff.
That makes sense.
So Jen might have saved his number in her phone to remind herself, hey, this is Donnie's number. Don't pick up. You have to talk to his lawyer. Which might be why she's sending it to voicemail in the first place.
So she starts getting close to kiss Arthur, but then wine spills on his sweater. He takes off the sweater, which Jen gets really big eyes. She likes what she sees. And the guy walks away for a second to get salt and club soda, I think it was, to clean his shirt or his sweater. And Jen grabs the sweater, throws it, hiding it so he can't put it back on. And then she looks at the camera just smiling. Which I love that. He comes back, I see, where'd my shirt go? And she just mumbles, I don't know. Oh, I love that. She starts going in to kiss him, but then and Wong opens a portal behind them. He angrily asks, why aren't you answering your phone? Oh, never mind. I see.
And he's like, I feel like your dad. It's like,
So Jen is so annoyed. She's like, Wong, what is it? And he says, I need your help. She tells Arthur that I'll be right back.
It has to be real important at that point.
Jen asks, what happened? Or what's she supposed to do against actual demons? And Wong just says, be a Hulk. Which I think she actually does try to be like her cousin for a second there, as she slams one of the demons into the ground before she realizes she can't just kill him that way. I think she was trying to smash it.
Yeah, she did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah. So Jen starts fighting them and asks, they don't die? And Wong makes a portal to a snowy mountain. I think it was the same snowy mountain that Doctor Strange went to in the first Doctor Strange film, maybe. I
would hope that he wasn't just sending them to another place on Earth.
I don't know.
I would hope not.
Yeah. But the only thing I could think of why he was sending in particularly to this place is these things are born from hell, so they're used to fire, so they're not going to be able to do good in a cold environment. Maybe that's the only thing I could think of. Yeah. So Jen Jen says that these are billable hours, and it's just like, demons, Miss Walters, demons. As if to like, we can't talk about this right now.
I'd still bill him, especially since he interrupted her date.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Jen starts having fun.
And it's technically case related because it's all caused by Donnie Blaze.
Yeah, she starts having fun actually throwing demons into the portal, which I really like that. That she actually had fun doing it. That made it really feel like something out of the She-Hulk comics. She also used one of the demons it's a rubber band, which I thought that was hilarious. She says, I finally found a guy who's sweet and listens and is very, very hot. Not that it matters, but it does.
But it does.
Oh man. Instead of kissing his very hot face right now, oh god, as a demon and throws her to the ground or so, or exactly, but and so she says, at a magic show, which is the worst part of it.
It's not even the demons that are the worst part. It's the magic show. And like, yeah, I kind of agree with her. It's a terrible magic show too.
Oh yeah. They get all but one of the demons through the portal. And the last one, Jen uses to scare Donnie into stopping using magic. And both Donnie and Cornelius agree. And then Jen gets teleported on top of the of Arthur, and then Jen picks him up and takes him to her bedroom, which I think like a lot of people listening to my podcast probably already know this, but I definitely probably wish I was Arthur here. So
all I gotta say is go get yours, girl. Like and if people did not expect this to happen in this show, again, you should have watched the trailers.
Yeah, and also you should have read. You should understand a little bit from the comics. She is someone who is very sex positive.
Yeah, she's very comfortable with her sexuality, and like the writers of her comics were never afraid to show that. So it only follows that the writers of her show would also not be afraid to show that. Yeah. So like, good for her.
Oh yeah, definitely good for her.
I hate how he reacts. The fact that he's like disappointed in Jen in the morning. Yeah. Like, dude, like she opened up to you about how uncomfortable it was that people demand that she transform, and then you're gonna go and do the same thing to her. Like,
it's really a fucked up response. In the morning, there's Heaven is a Place on Earth plays in the background, which I love that was the music they chose for it. It was perfect. And we see that Jen made breakfast for her and Arthur, and Nikki is texting her about asking for all the dirty deets. But she says as first that I gotta tell you how Titania is on the news again, and we find out that the Titania was cleared of all charges, and then this is where Arthur walks in and asking, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm Jen," just not in Hulk form. The guy says, "Cool, unexpected." Jen tells him how she made breakfast, and then he says, "I'm gonna go." I honestly just do feel so bad for Jen here. Really bad that he treated her like that. Also, why are you denying that free food? That food looked good.
Right, like
she went to all good.
That trouble. Like the least you could do is like take some of it with you on your way out.
If it looked like some monstrosity, like she put the demon claws on a plate, like okay, maybe then you don't want to eat it, but this actually looked like a really nice breakfast. Yeah. Oh man. Which Jen looks at us saying, whatever, the hot doctor is a cliche anyway. And then she gets a knock on the door. It's a server here to say that that Titania is suing her, which I really liked how she's just like I immediately knew it was a server just because she's a lawyer, so she's handled a lot of these people before. Yeah. So
I love that she like immediately calls him out because he's like
yeah,
being all cheery and like delivery for you. She's like, I know a server when I see one.
until she said that though, a part of me was hoping it's like this was maybe a Hulk sending her costume or something.
Oh,
Since I think that Hulk in the one is going to be the one who makes her costume in the series, her superhero costume.
that would be cool.
But yeah, I was thinking that was what it was gonna be, and then she said, "I know a server when I see one." I'm like, "Oh, this is definitely not the direction I thought it was going." So and the server tells her that Titania is suing you for misuse of trademark, the She-Hulk trademark to be exact. Jen's like, but that's my name, and the server says, but not if she trademarked it first. Jen's like, oh, is that how it works? Eric says she shuts the door in his face.
I love how she calls him Your Honor too. Yeah. It's like, oh, is that how it works, Your Honor? Clink.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you really think you know more about how the law system works than a lawyer. Okay, goodbye.
But yeah, also, you have to be really insane to try suing a lawyer for or this a case like this. There is not any chance that Titania would win this.
But that's the thing, is that if her company did trademark it, she at least has some kind of legal grounds.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to be able. You have to also see like you're fighting like one of the best lawyers around. You're suing literally one of the best lawyers around.
Titania probably doesn't know that. No, like Titania's probably just like, oh, I can, go after She-Hulk for whatever I want.
Oh yeah. Jen says as the regular part of the episode ends, she says, it's kind of a bummer way to end this episode. I bet there's a fun tag though. I love that. So we have we have in the credits a few new fun drawings. One of them being of Madison signing Jake the Goat's contract, which even more gave me Mephisto vibes from that drawing. And then also one where Jen is trying to clean off all of the demon guts in her bathroom, which was funny.
Can't imagine that was easy.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of paper towels on the counter, and she still had a massive amount on her. And then finally, Wong putting Donnie in the mirror dimension, and love that. And we get in a post credit scene showing Ongers and Madison and eating popcorn, watching TV, and talking about alcoholic drinks. Oh man, I love this post credit scene. It's definitely not my favorite of the post credit scene so far, but it was still great.
Yeah, Jen was right. There was indeed a fun tag. Not meaningful in any way, but fun.
Yeah. Which I was actually surprised it wasn't meaningful, because I was thinking that this fourth episode was going to have a big cliffhanger, both because like this was the last episode the press got, and also just because there's the fact that this weekend is D23.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking it was gonna be something more teasing in World War Hulk, but sadly that was not the case.
Yeah, with as fluid as release schedules have had to be with these shows, I feel like there was no way they could really quite time it that way. Although if they do announce something World War Hulk related, I feel like we've had enough of a little a taste that it'll make sense to people.
I I think there is actually a good chance they announce that this weekend, because I do definitely think that we're getting Aang World War Hulk based on what we see in She-Hulk so far with where he's going. But the main reason I think that is a possibility we could get that announced is because I think they'll go through a loophole of uh, to not have to worry about any like legal things with Universal. Is just they just announced World War Hulk. Don't say if it's a movie or a show. Just and then if they don't get the rights back next year, like there's been a lot of rumors saying they probably will. They can just say, hey, that we were just planning for a special comic or sign, since they have the rights to Hulk in comics, so they could. So I think that would be a loophole for them to be able to announce sign like that and not worry about any kind of legal problems if there could be anything arise.
I mean, it's a little hard to do that because they, particularly with D23, they're announcing stuff for streaming and for film and television separately from video games, separately from theme parks, separately from books and comics. So you're going to have different panels for anything written that they're going to announce. So it would be hard for them to like backtrack and say,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So if they were to just like leak it somewhere that, something World War Hulk is coming, then that would be easier to walk back. But like to do some kind of official announcement, they would put it in the panel that it goes with.
I do think there is a big chance there that they announce that this weekend, and honestly I think out of all the things that they could announce this weekend, I think the biggest things that that I think there's biggest chance is World War Hulk and then the Fantastic Four casting. I think those are the two biggest things.
I don't know. I
feel like there's at least the Fantastic Four casting is gotta happen because if it weren't, why else would all the stuff be ramping up of rumors about the casting in the past week or two? Which usually when that happens right before a big event, it usually means they're going to announce signing.
Generally, I would agree with you. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I do wonder what I do wonder how much of that they're really ready to talk about, especially with the director change. I think we'll get director confirmations. I think we'll get the official announcements for Dustin Daniel Cretton for King Dynasty, and
I do wonder what they'll announce.
I do wonder
if they'll announce a director for Secret Wars too, which that's gonna be the big one for directors. I'm so interested in who they'll have direct that, because I think most directors, they wouldn't be able to handle something that big.
And the Russos have already bowed out, so I'm
honestly,
very interested to see.
Honestly, at this point, my biggest thing of like what I could honestly see working is Kevin Feige himself directing it. He's never directed anything before, but he is the only one who can handle this many characters, as he's been able to create an entire universe with all of these characters. So I think he would really be the only person who actually be able to handle that big of a directing job. It would maybe it's interesting to me.
So while generally I agree with that sentiment, I don't know if it's likely, because
I don't know if it's likely either.
Reports have said that he has really enjoyed being a little more hands-off on sets as of late, particularly like with Multiverse of Madness, just being able to hand Sam Raimi the reins.
Yes.
So And so I don't know that he would choose to take over a film on his own.
Maybe, but also, I think particularly for Secret Wars, it's not gonna have that much director freedom like a lot of the other films are, just because of how big of film it is. Just like both Infinity War and Endgame, though, yeah, the Russo brothers, they had a lot of freedom. There was still a lot they had to make sure happens, because as the studio told them, you have to do this because this is our biggest film ever.
Right.
Yeah. Which also, for a film like Secret Wars, honestly, I don't really want it to have a particular director's style for it. I want it to just have the Marvel style, because it's being such a big thing. And I think it might feel weird if it has some particular director's style.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be like an auteur kind of film.
Yeah.
I think another likely thing we might get at D23 is the team lineup for Thunderbolts, which very likely will include Abomination.
Oh yeah, I think he's definitely gonna be on there. I wholeheartedly think that Val is going to show up in She-Hulk. I think
100%. She has to.
It would feel weird if she didn't, because it's like she appeared in 2 things last year. She hasn't appeared in a single thing this year.
Right. Like,
I think we're
missing something.
Though also, I also felt like she should have appeared in Hawkeye last year, but she didn't, and they didn't even name drop her, which was surprising. Yelena got that information about Hawkeye from Val, but she just says like, oh, it was from Kate's mom and Kingpin. I'm like, why aren't you mentioning Val here? I'm wondering why that isn't, but also I'm thinking that that must mean that Val and Kingpin are working together.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Which and so I think either Val will appear in She-Hulk, which I think is a very big possibility, or she's got to at least appear by Secret Invasion, because it's just gonna feel weird if so much time I'm after her last 2 appearances.
Yeah. I also, going back to D23 for a second, I also think that we're gonna get the Halloween special announced.
Yep.
Because we're too close for them.
It's so weird. It's so weird to me that everyone knows that thing exists, but they've never announced it.
Yeah. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
So we're either getting the announcement and it's coming out in like a month, or they're gonna save it for next year.
Maybe, but also
why?
But I think would be cool. But I don't think Marvel Studios would do it. Is actually just stealth release it, make it, just release it next month, no marketing whatsoever, and just be like, surprise, we got you guys a special. That would be really cool.
Like, oops, we dropped this.
Yeah, I've long thought it was such a cool thing. How do you know about how a few years ago there was a Cloverfield film that was released right after the Super Bowl? It had not been announced. This film had never been announced. It got its first trailer during the Super Bowl, and they just said, "Oh, it's releasing right after the Super Bowl that night." I'm not interested in the Cloverfield franchise, but that's just such an interesting thing to me. A stealth release, having a secret film made, and not announcing it and then just releasing it. And with such a big franchise like the Cloverfield franchise is.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly nowhere near the size of
Well,
Marvel.
yeah, obviously,
but
but
it's an
still.
interesting concept.
Yeah, I think
feel
it'd be a really cool. Like, I would love to be able to wake up one day in October and they're like, "Happy Halloween! And we got you a special for this."
I feel like this holiday season is like when Feige's just like letting people experiment, because like we're doing this weird thing with the Halloween special. We're getting the Guardians holiday special, so like
I feel like they're like them doing this. This is going to be a continued thing. There's no like, why would you do this for 1 year and then never do it again? I feel like they're going to continue.
If it doesn't work,
yeah. If it doesn't work, yes, but I think it probably will. And which I've said before, and I'll say it again. I want them to do a for one of these holiday specials, a Hulk Cousins holiday special, and see what the Hulk's celebrating Christmas would be like.
I remember you posting something about that. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. So I commented on one of those, like on one of Marvel's posts asking for that, because they would
Tatiana Maslany answered your question about it.
Yeah, she answered my question. It was so cool.
That's super awesome.
Oh man, and she was like, "I would love to be able to do that. That I want to see how big the Hulk's tree is," which would be awesome. And also she was doing this really cool thing with these videos where she quote unquote broke the fourth wall, where she just turned to the side with another camera and made a joke. And then the one where she turned to the side and said, "I hate working with Mark Ruffalo. I'd never want to work with him again." I love that. Oh man, it was it like the fact that happened literally the evening before or She-Hulk came out. So that was just like that felt so good hearing that. Yeah. Oh man. So at the end of this scene, she asked Wong his favorite drink, and he says gin and tonic, which that immediately made me think of a friend of mine who their name on social media is actually Gin and Tonic. Which I bet they love this scene just for that. Which is also just gives me an excuse to shout her out. So check out Gin and Tonic. Like, that's spelled JYN instead of GIN. And she does cosplay, and she's actually planning on doing a She-Hulk one and she's also gonna be coming on here the Gamma Analysis to talk She-Hulk for my finale episode in October. So that was I just thought, this is a good excuse to give my friend a shout out.
Yeah.
Cool. So honestly, as a whole, I absolutely love this episode. It's easily my favorite episode so far, and I know I keep saying that, but the episodes just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the show overall as a whole. I'm interested to see where the overarching like plot for the rest of the season goes, like where this whole Titania feud is going. I'm interested to see where Daredevil comes in. I want to know what the next case is going to be. Like, I'm digging the, monster of the week, case of the week situation for right now. I feel like there needs to be a little more glue for the last couple of episodes for the season, in order to kind of hold it all together.
I think we will get some of that, but not nearly as much as any of the other rest of the shows have. Mm-hmm. I think it's because they wanted to make this show feel completely different than everything else.
Yeah, a little more episodic, which makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like we could get. I feel like we'll get a multi-episode arc for the end of the season, continuing on from the Wrecking Crew. Maybe not really showing the Wrecking Crew again, but just continuing the storyline of someone's trying to get her blood. And we'll find out whoever that villain is. Obviously, as well, Titania is the main villain of the series, and I would not be surprised if they try to make this lawsuit of her suing her for the name She-Hulk, make that be a multi-episode lawsuit, so that makes it feel a little bit more important than the rest of the lawsuits in the episodes.
Maybe.
Yeah. And I like the idea of them having something like that be the big thing to end the season instead of just a big fight, because I think that would make fit the show better, having a giant iron case.
That's true. Yeah, it would fit the focus and the format of the show better.
And so some particular things with this episode. I love the fourth wall breaks this episode. I think it was some of the best ones we've gotten so far in the season.
Agreed.
And I love the chemistry between Wong and Madison together.
Yes.
I love all the Ghost Rider references and then also seeing a Jen's dating life. It's all just so good. And also just say which people would know if they listen to this point of the review, but I'm single. I love both the human form and the Hulk form of Jen, so if she wanted to go on a date with me, I'd very much like that. She's my tall green goddess, and I would treat her right, listen to everything she has to say, and always respect her.
There you go.
Oh man.
Yeah,
so,
I think my favorite part of the whole episode was the fourth wall breaks. Like this is easily the best that they've been all season.
Oh yeah, and it kind of feels like to me like each episode has more fourth wall breaks than the last.
She's getting more comfortable with them.
She's getting more comfortable with them, and which goes along with some rumors I've heard that they may be having that her fourth wall powers get so powerful that actually at one of the episodes she may like actually change the course of the series by like going changing sign with her fourth wall breaking powers, which would be really cool.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. So that's also all right. So the answer to the trivia question from earlier was Daniel Ridge, aka Zapper, and Richard Roy, which I'm not surprised that you guys get those right.
Don't know either of those two people.
I didn't know them either. I just took like a question from a She-Hulk Discord that I'm in, and they because I was having trouble trying to think of what I should do for the trivia question this week, but someone suggested that. I was like, they're probably not going to guess that, but guess the answer to this, but it'll probably get some funny answers, and also it fits with this episode.
There you go. Sure does.
Before I end this episode off, is there any last things you'd like to say?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. I'm really enjoying the show. I think it's, it's definitely one of the more comedic outings we've had so far for the MCU, and I'm really interested to see where it goes and where we leave things headed into the final film of Phase 4. Oh yeah.
All right. So, I want to thank Caroline for coming on. I really enjoyed having you on. So everyone should check out the Defining Disney podcast. I believe it's on most major podcast platforms. So definitely check them out if you liked her on here. So
yeah, find us on Twitter at Defining Disney. You can also check out our website, definingdisneypodcast.com. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff.
Yep. All right. So thank you for listening. If you like this gamma analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode, so please let me know. And I'd like to listen. If you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more gamma analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.